Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm going to admit I forgot how to turn off the video for a second there. So that's why it took so long. I was just going through my tasks. I was like, oh, where's the video again? But yeah, we're here. I see there's already quite a few people in the chat, which is always good to see.
Ian,
welcome.
did you bring your friends?
Yeah, I was like...
to help.
They follow me everywhere. Yeah, it's great to
Aw.
see everybody in chat.
Welcome.
Thanks for dropping by.
But yeah, it's another stream with some familiar faces, some maybe not so familiar faces, I don't know. But today we're doing a Blindfold challenge, and I'm the one who's challenging people. So I was originally going to challenge Ian, who's here to do something.
We are challenging him. You and me are challenging.
Or maybe, I don't know. Let's see who challenges who. But before we get started, maybe do a quick round of introduction. I'm Arlemi. I don't think I've been in the stream for a while, but you may have seen me here before. Otherwise, you may have seen me on the chat. I'm a developer advocate at Postman, located in the UK, with a very rapidly changing weather. So my light is gonna move a lot during the stream.
Diminish.
But it's the joys of being in the UK. And I'm here with Joyce.
Hi, everyone. I'm Joyce. I'm based in San Francisco, so it's early morning for me. Welcome, friends. Hi, Try My Lumpia. Hi, Willie Garretts. Thanks for joining us.
And Ian, who's probably the face you've not seen on the stream before, because it's his first one.
Not on this one, but I'm not a stranger to being on Twitch, at least. So I stream on 2 different accounts on Twitch. One of them is Ian the Postman, or Ian the Postmanaut, actually, which I'm doing some live streaming around learning about Postman and its capabilities. Originally from Canada, I live in the United States now. Been here, 22 years now in the States. Yeah, really excited to see what you got in store for me today.
And what do you do at Postman?
Oh, what do I do? Sorry, I'm a developer advocate, so I'm on a team with Joyce and Arlemi and others, and yeah, so I love just working on community-based things, public speaking, live streaming, content creation, that sort of stuff.
Cool, that's the right place to be then. I'm seeing already some questions about today's agenda. Well, today's agenda is kind of a surprise for everyone, but
especially me.
Yeah, especially Jan. Because I'm going to change it. But before we jump into the agenda, I'm just going to give a quick hint. It's going to be about lights, because you might have seen behind Ian, there's like a bunch of Nanoleaf panels, exactly, that blink everywhere. So we're going to play with that using Postman.
Awesome.
Before we get started, though, we always do, in case you missed it in our streams, so I'm going to go ahead, share my screen, because there is actually tons of stuff.
What's new?
That's new in Postman. So first, I'm going to start with something that is pretty cool, that has been done by Ruby, one of our colleagues. I think she's a technical enablement architect at Postman. If you don't know, and I actually did not know, in the US, February is Black History Month, and someone stops me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's what it is. And in honor of that, Ruby put together a public workspace where there's a bunch of APIs. Oh, that's not the link. That is the link. That you can views and play with that are around Black history. So I think someone already posted in the chat. But yeah, so there's one about Igbo. So that's a language that used, I think, in Africa in general. That's one of the most used language. And you can kind of learn it using that API, so you can get words and example of words. There's the Black History Facts API, which just gives you like random fact about Black history, and a bunch of other ones. Go to that, play with them, add some if you know some that are not there that you'd like to see added, and if not, just read more about it, because I think that's a good thing to learn about. So
yeah, Ruby's been on some streams before. That's really cool that she created that. Okay.
On streams and on webinars.
Yeah.
Next one is Postman now supports OpenAPI 3.1, and this one doesn't mention any history, etc. This one is 100% product. So if you've been, if you know about OpenAPI, that's a specification for defining your APIs. And we've been supporting OpenAPI 3.0 for a while, probably about like 2 years or so now, I want to say, that you could import your schema, author them in Postman, generate collections from them. But OpenAPI 3.1 was released a few months back, and we now have added support for it in Postman. So if you're using 3.1, you can now use these schemas and definitions in Postman. You can also generate collections from it. And you also get like this authoring experience where if there's an error, we'll tell you, and this type of stuff. So another pretty exciting one.
Do you know what the difference between 3.0 and 3.1 is on the specification?
No.
But now we support it.
I think I was reading that in 3.1 there's a first approach to kind of adding some async stuff to OpenAPI. But I might be wrong. If you're interested, though, the OpenAPI group has a very good website which defines everything. That is a great reference if you're working with OpenAPI.
Yeah.
Last one, which we've not really talked about. There's no blog post about it, and it's just slowly being rolled out. But if you're doing anything with GraphQL, and if you've been doing stuff with GraphQL in Postman, you may have known that before you had to call your service, get the schema on the other side, import the schema in Postman, sync the request with the schema, and then you could have autocomplete. So now we've added introspection, which means just from the URL of your GraphQL API, we'll get the schema and we'll allow you to do autocompletion straight away. So I'm going to give a quick demo of that. Again, this was released probably yesterday, and it's still slowly being rolled out, so you might not have access to it. But
it's breaking news.
It is breaking news. I'm going to use the Rick and Morty API. That's a collection that Joyce put together. Which, if you're not familiar with Rick and Morty, it's a TV show.
It's a TV show about science.
TV show about science. Science, yeah, I guess science. And this API kind of allows you to get characters, etc. So before, you would need to. Oh no, it's already doing it. It's just spoilers. But let's say I create a new API, a new API request. I just put in my the link to my GraphQL API to my endpoint. If I go in the body and say this is GraphQL when I want to write, you have two options now. You used to have only selecting the schema, and the schema would be one that you had in your API tab here. But now you can just auto-fetch, and it defaults to that if it detects that it's a GraphQL endpoint. You can see it's schema fetched. And now, by doing control space or command space, if you're on... Actually, I don't know. If you're on Mac, it might also be control space bar. You get the auto-completion. So I'm going to try to write some...
Query?
Yeah, some query. Can I do something like this? I'm just going to steal from there. Characters page. Oof, I'm not going to write. I am
That's
not
a long
going to write
query.
that. But basically, you get auto-completion. You don't have to bother with adding another schema. It just fetches it automatically. And this is amazing. So
that's so cool. That was one of the most requested features after Postman announced GraphQL support. People wanted introspection. That's really nifty.
You can see there was quite a few people asking for it, and now they're going to get it. So it's pretty cool.
Ooh, and you guys are finding out about it first before we even announce it officially. That's pretty cool.
I don't know, maybe we're not supposed to talk about it, but
everyone should tweet it, and then you can get all sorts of internet karma.
We did it anyway. Yeah, actually, I should tweet about it to get my karma.
Oh no, I'm going to tweet about it right now.
Okay, that's it for in case you missed it. Hopefully you've learned some new stuff about Postman. Ooh, I
also learned, I didn't know this, but the command or control space to start the autocomplete, I didn't know that. That's
yeah, you can actually use that.
Does everyone know that?
So that's
we do now.
Yeah.
You can use it here, but if you're doing tests, etc. So let's say you're using the PM API, that's how you trigger. That's how you trigger the autocomplete as well. Let's say I cancel it, I can go back and do control space.
Because I always had to delete and then start typing real slow again, but it's just command space.
Yeah. Yeah. So control space, or I actually don't know on Mac, so I don't want to say anything wrong. But because we're using the Monaco editor, which is the same that is used in VS Code, you have access to this type of stuff by just doing control and spacebar. So yeah, let's close this and talk about today's challenge. Ian, are you ready?
I'm as ready as I'm going to be.
Okay. So you've got lights, and you've already written some scripts for it.
Mm-hmm.
Joyce, who's also here, has a light behind her.
Is John's work alias here? Somebody turned on my light. I don't know who it is. Oh, there he is.
Yeah. Oh, maybe John. I don't know.
Oh, it changed color. So.
But yeah, so as you can see, and demoed without even me having to ask for it, some people can control Joyce's light. And I thought it would be cool if we could control yours too, or at least give the viewers the possibility to do it.
Okay.
Your lights have, I think, a lot more options than Joyce's one, because Joyce is very much like just set a color on off. Yours can blink, etc. But let's start small.
Sure.
With just opening an endpoint for them to be able to turn it on, off, or set the color. Okay.
Yeah,
let's see what we can do with that. Sure.
Because my light is open to the public. There's an ingress so that people at home can clearly change my light. But Ian, you're running yours on your local network, right?
Right. Yeah, mine's private, so we'll need to explore a way to expose that and make that public.
Yeah. So that was one of the things I was going to mention. If you don't want to build something that's like durable, I'm happy with like you just using something like ngrok or like localhost.run just for the time of the stream.
And then I'm happy to do whatever we need. Yep. Do whatever we need to make it happen.
Okay. Should I share your screen?
Sure. Yep.
Well, don't share my screen.
And I'm going to. It's that time of the stream where we say bye-bye to the chat.
Oh, no.
But it's just we say bye-bye to the chat on the screen. We still see you. We still highlight your messages if there's anything important or nice. And then
somebody mentioned in chat we should rename it to "Let's Hack Ian Challenge."
Yeah, that it kind of sounds like that. So that's why I'm like, if you don't feel comfortable like opening your whole network,
that's all good.
That's fine. Okay, so I'm going to remove the chat. I'm going to put our faces right here, and let's get started. So actually, you may want to talk about what you've already built, because you already built some stuff in Postman for your lights.
Yep. So in Postman, I have a workspace that I made public. It's called Ian's Twitch Nanoleaf Control. And this is basically watching my Twitch follower count for my Ian the Postmanaut account. And when the count goes up, it makes the lights blink. And so I've got all that plugged in. And I noticed this morning that my environment is not working. Not sure why, but it seemed to have cleared out a bunch of my... Oh, there, now it's back. So if I run my whole collection, it'll look at my follower count, and if it has gone up since the last time I ran it, it makes the lights blink. Yeah. And so I've got a couple of endpoints that are going and fetching my Twitch information and then an endpoint that kind of hits my local internal environment to go look up all of my Nanoleaf panel data. So I've got 34 of these Nanoleaf panels on the wall, and it has to go look up all the individual IDs. And then when I have this call blink the lights, it's actually looping through all 34 of those panels, randomly picking an RGB value, a red, green, blue value for each one, sets all of that, and then does that 10 times. And so it looks like they're all flashing and blinking. I have a Python script that I run as well, that I have like a little keystroke thing that I can hit, and it makes it blink like 50 times or something like that. But in Postman, if I run this collection, it'll only blink 10 times.
Okay, so I'll allow you to steal some code from that if that helps you.
Okay. Yes,
because
probably will.
Yeah, having to like code every single one like individually, and we had really asking what are those lights and where can we buy them. So as Ian mentioned, it's Nanoleafs, and that should be...
It's a Canadian company, I believe, right? They're from Canada.
I don't know, to be honest. I'm not sure.
I have Nanoleafs too. Clearly, we had them at the San Francisco office. They were triangle though, triangle shaped.
Yeah, the original ones were triangle. These are the canvas ones, which are square, and they've got some other ones now that are hexagon shape. And what's neat about them is you can plug them all together, so you can buy like the square ones and the hexagon ones and the triangle ones, and they all plug in together.
So it's like addressable LEDs, except like a bunch of them bundled in a unit. A panel
in a single panel. Yep. And then a power supply can power like 25 of them, so I've actually got 2 power supplies to actually like light all of these up. But it only takes one controller can control I think 500 of these lights, so it's pretty extensible.
All of the lights.
Yeah. All right, so what are we going to do first, Arlemi?
Well, so we want you to, or ideally, at the end of that challenge, anyone on the chat has a URL they can hit. They can give some values, whichever values you'll need to change the color of your lights. So you need to build a collection that can receive some values, and then using that, it will call your Nanoleafs and do what it needs to do. There's 2. It's kind of split in 2 challenges. One of them is figuring out how to like update the lights. The other one is how to pass the external people to your internal network. But yeah, that should be it. Ideally, we want you to have like a single collection that does that.
Okay. So I think what we'll probably do is expose, since I've got 34 panels, is maybe we'll let users pick a number from 1 to 34 and then send in like a random RGB value. And they'll see that panel light up.
That would be cool.
Most of them are visible behind me. There's a few like right up above my head over here that are kind of off camera, and a couple of them like behind my head a little bit, but most of them you'll be able to see and like address, and yeah, we'll go from there.
And I have a correction, Arlemi. The plural of Nanoleaf is actually Nanoleaves.
Yeah, I wasn't sure because it's brand.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a good point. It could be Nanoleaves.
Yeah. That's I'm gonna send them an email at the same time. I'll ask them.
And it looks like somebody's already called dibs on 19, so nobody else take 19.
Fair. All right, sounds good.
Yeah, start coding your favorite numbers.
Cool. All right, so I should make a new workspace for this?
You can use the DevRel Republic.
The DevRel?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And then I'll make a new collection in here for Hack Ian's lights. All right. So we'll call this Hack Ian's Nanoleaf.
That's just inviting trouble.
Okay, adjust Ian's Nanoleaf. How's that?
Please don't hack.
Cool. All right, enter to save, and let's see, what are we going to do from here? So do we want to start on the API controls to actually make the lights blink, or do we want to figure out how to do the public-facing side of it first?
Let's start with controlling the lights.
All the lights first? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so the first thing that we're going to need to do is actually connect to the controller and get information about all of the lights. So we're gonna have to go get a list of like what are all the lights, and we can actually go scrape all of the IDs, and we'll put that in like a collection variable or something like that.
Just a quick check, Ian. Do you have like the stream open on another window or something? Because I think you're a little bit laggy. Just in case you have.
No, just the restream one.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Okay, let's all right, so let me go figure out what we need to do for that. So we're going to need a couple of variables. One of them, I'm probably going to do like the IP address. Let me close out the documentation side here. So I'm going to need like my Nanoleaf IP address. And that's just going to be like a 192. Let's see, what is my IP
local
address? Yeah. So this is my local IP, and I just need to go grab that IP address from my other environment. And there it is, 176.
Are you on a Windows machine?
I am on a Windows machine right now, yeah. Okay, so I need that.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, is that Windows 11? But yeah.
It is Windows 11, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And then the other thing that we're going to need, yeah, the other thing we're going to need is an access control. And so when you use an API with the Nanoleaf, the access token is actually part of the URL that you send. And since I'm on like, this isn't actually going to affect anything, I don't mind sharing this, but we'll need a Nanoleaf access token. And there you can go look at the documentation on, how to like hit a button on the Nanoleaf and it starts flashing, and then you can connect with the API and it'll actually return back an access token. For simplicity's sake today, I'm just going to like pop it in here. So oops. So that's the value of my access token, and I can go through and revoke this later on.
So if we how do you know all this? You know this because you've built the collection before.
Yeah, and so if you don't have this access token, you can connect to the IP address, and but you have to set the panel in like an active listening mode, like it's supposed to give a new access token. So I would actually have to walk over there and hit a button and come back within a few seconds and like call the API.
Yeah.
So I did that ahead of time, not knowing that this was going to be the challenge, but this is an access token that I use to actually make them blink right now.
Wait, did you know? Is this not a surprise?
I didn't. No.
Okay,
no, I didn't. I had no idea. But because I've already been building this in Postman, I already had this access token for my Postman environment, so I just copied that over. No, I had no idea that this is what we're doing today.
Because Arlemi can't keep a secret. But go ahead, please continue.
Like the GraphQL stuff.
Exactly.
Okay. So from here, what we need to do is we need to actually hit the endpoint to go get all of the panel information. So I need to go add a request. And what we're going to do in here is I'm going to call this request like get Nanoleaf data. And this is where I'm going to go connect to my Nanoleaf panel and actually say like go get a list of everything. And so what we're going to have in here is we're going to have that URL that I just added as my collection variable. So that's going to be my Nanoleaf IP address. And then the way that we actually send this is we have to use this auth token or this access token. And so I'm going to do that as a path parameter in Postman. So if we start something with a colon here, it's going to open this path variables. And this is where I can go use that other collection variable here for my Nanoleaf access token. And so if I send this over right now, resource not found. Why?
Haha.
Would be too easy.
I do like how you're chaining variables. So you're using path variable upon collection variable.
Yeah, and so there's actually a port number that I need to use here. It's 16021, and we also need API v1 on here as well. That's what I was saying. All right. So
when I ask you why you knew that, was there an existing collection on the API network that helped you build that originally? By any chance?
Yes, I'm glad you asked. Yeah, I have a workspace called what's it called? Ian's Twitch Nanoleaf automation or something like that. What did I call it? Ian's Twitch Nanoleaf control. So yeah, you can go find that, and it'll actually show you how I build out the URLs for connecting to the Nanoleaf.
Did you, even before that, did you use another one?
Did you build it manually?
Oh no, this is actually built in, and I use so internally, like on my Stream Deck where I hit a button and make them flash, I actually have a Python script, and so it's using a Python library called Nanoleaf API. And I basically went in and I tore that apart to kind of see how it works, because I love looking under the hood on things. I love figuring out how things actually work under the hood. And so I found like the port number and how it actually builds all these API.
So you didn't read the documentation. You just reverse engineered.
Yeah.
Because that's
I shortcut it by just reverse engineering it. That's way easier than reading documentation.
I think Joyce got what I was trying to plug, because there might be a collection, a Nanoleaf collection you could leverage.
Yeah, you could just literally drag and drop a request, but reverse engineering is clever too.
Yeah,
that's how I learned how things work, is I tear it apart. So
I'll plug the collection later on. I'll have another opportunity.
Awesome. Cool. So I sent that over, and on a Windows machine, Control Enter will do a send. On a Mac, you can do Command Enter to do a send. And now we've got all of the information down here. It gives me a list of all of the different color effects that are going on. We can see which one is currently selected. So this one's called Nemo, like from the Disney movie. It's just making them flash orange and white. Tells me whether I have a firmware upgrade available. But then we have this layout section here, and this is where we're getting the count of panels, and then all of the information about each individual panel. So each panel has its own unique ID. And then it uses this X, Y, and O and shape and whatever to actually figure out how they're physically plugged together. So if you call it up in your phone app, it'll actually draw in the phone app how you actually have them connected on the wall. So it's really neat how it kind of figures all that stuff out as far as like how they're plugged together. So now we've got all the data that we need to actually go store all of our Nanoleaf panel data.
What's the O? I know how X and Y works, but what's the O in that configuration?
I'm not sure what the O value means. They're all well, they're not all set to 0. It might be orientation, because some of them get rotated. And I think how they get rotated to plug in together, because there's a number of plugs on the back where they plug with a little circuit connector.
Do you mean it's a 3D installation?
No,
or do you mean like this way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a rotated on one axis. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
And then I think the shape type is like, is it the square, the triangle, the hexagon? That would be my presumption for the shape. Yeah. So now we've got.
If you had read the docs, you might know, but this is good too.
Who reads documentation? All right. So now that we've got all our panel data, I need a way to store that in some way. So I'm probably just going to write some test code to kind of break this JSON payload down and actually go extract all of those panels from here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop over to the tests, and I'm just going to work on some code here. So I'm going to start with a snippet over here that says if everything worked out okay. So if I got a 200, then I'm going to go break all the stuff down. So I'm going to do like let data equals my postman response.json. That's going to basically unpack all of that into an object, and then I can go access everything in there. And so inside of this data payload, we have panel layout. So I've got data.panel layout. And then inside of that, I have layout. So panel layout is like all the panels, and then layout is actually the array of all of these individual things. So then I also have
a little bit behind our head. Can you drag that up just a scotch so we can see the response object? Thank you.
Nice. I also like that you put your code in between the tests to see if the response is 200.
Yeah, because if I can't connect, I don't want to try to send any other code. There's no point doing any of that if we can't actually connect to it. So
I was trying to think, because if I want that code to execute, I usually wrap it in like a try catch or like an if. What's the else or an if else? But the way Postman tests work, if it throws an error, does it just stop so that the code will never execute?
Oh. Yeah, and so if this is setting up an expectation, like I expect this response to have a status of 200. If this line fails, it doesn't run anything else. And so if you have a bunch of these conditions in a Postman test, as soon as one of them fails, it doesn't do anything after that.
So the execution is clever and minimalistic. I like that. But for verbosity, is that a word? For like explicitness to somebody reading it, it might be helpful to do a different syntax. But excellent. Very nice.
Yep. So this is going to be our array of panels at this point. And so now each one of these is going to have a panel ID that we're going to need to store. So I'm going to make a new variable here, and I'm just going to call it like panel data or panel IDs maybe. And we can do a couple of things here. I could do like a for each and go extract the panel IDs. I could do a dot each and then, or like a for loop over this and like go append all of them. And I'm just going to do like a for each here. So the for each block, I'm going to say for each object, I want to return the object's panel ID. So now panel IDs should be an array of all of the panel IDs that we're getting when we iterate over this list of panel data. So to test this out, I'm just going to console log my panel IDs here. And then I'm going to go send this again, and we're going to open up the console here. And it came in undefined. So that doesn't surprise me.
It worked.
My JavaScript is not the best. So there's something I'm not doing right in my for each here. Position data for each object and grabbing object dot panel ID. I think I spelled everything correctly.
Let me see if I can move our faces to the side.
Oh, you can also close that sidebar.
Yes, I can close that sidebar. Let's do...
By dragging.
There we go, yep.
Really
so I have...
Let's open it up and tear it apart to understand how it's not working.
Yeah, let's go tear apart the JavaScript APIs. So we have data panel layout position data for each. Okay, well, let's just do this instead. Let's just start with an empty array, and then we'll do a for each, and inside of here, I'm just going to push that into the array. So let's do like panel IDs dot push. We'll just push that panel ID. See if that'll work for us. There we go. So it was just in how I was trying to do that. So now we have an array of all of the unique IDs. So now when a user comes in and says, I want to set panel 19, as somebody called dibs on, we'll just seek into this index. We'll find element number 19 and then let them send an RGB value.
I'm going to take panel 19.
But somebody else called dibs on 19 already.
Yep. Illegal move.
Anchit called dibs on panel 19.
Okay. Cool. So now we've got all those panel IDs. We should probably store them so that we can recall those later on. And so I'm just going to write that into like a, what do you think, a collection variable? That'll be a good place for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to do collection variables.set, and I need to give this a name. So I'm just going to call this like Nanoleaf Panels. And then in order to store this and retrieve it, we do need to serialize this.
So why are you storing them?
Well, let's see. We could call this every single time as part of the request. Like if somebody says, I want to set panel 19, we could come in here, go fetch all of the panels, and then just set number 19. But if we sort of call this once and store it, then we don't have to hit the Nanoleaf control every time. So it's just kind of like a one and like do it once, save it, and then we've got all those IDs.
Is there
now?
Is there an API endpoint that allows you to set the panel ID as a parameter directly?
No, those are actually set inside the panel itself.
Okay.
I mean, we could just do it as a one-off. So like, we could just leave this as is, and then from here, say like, look at the other incoming request, and then go find whichever element they wanted to set, and go see if we could set that one panel.
Yeah, I was just wondering.
Question of optimizing or not at this point.
Yeah. So yeah, let's not overcomplicate it. Let's not overanalyze. we'll just do it all as one shot. So we'll just assume that, you know, when they hit the endpoint, it's just going to go look up the panels. It happens really quick. It happened in 14 milliseconds locally, so it's not going to be like a huge time sink. It's not like it takes a minute to go grab all that data. So, okay, so now that we have that data, then we'll need to do something with that later on. But at least we know that we're getting that list of panel IDs from here.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking about the ULights, because the ULights API. So you have the same URL. So it goes
He's
API
saying hue lights, everyone. Hue lights.
API v1, and then I think it's like / the ID of your light if you have several. So it's going to be like API / v1 / 2 / whatever you want to do to them. So you can actually filter it that way, but you can't do that with Nanoleafs. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So to do the individual panels, we have to call basically an endpoint where we take a list of all the panel IDs and we set the RGB value, and then we push that, and we should be able to do just a single light at a time.
Yeah.
So we'll test out that functionality. We'll see what we can do here. Okay, so from here we're gonna need to know like an RGB value. So are we going to do that as part of this endpoint? That like, is this endpoint going to be what the public user is going to call, or do we want another endpoint that says go call this to fetch all of our panels and have that other endpoint actually do the work? What do you think we should do there?
I would recommend splitting it in different requests.
Okay.
Considering
so we'll go,
when people will call your thing, you can run through the collection, right? If you need like different endpoints.
Okay. So we'll call this one control one light. And inside here, we're going to need to copy that Nanoleaf IP address again. Here's port 16021 API v1, and then our access token. So we're going to come back in here. We'll set that Nanoleaf access token in here. Right. So now we need to know how to actually set an individual light. And in this case, we're going to hit an endpoint called effects. And then this endpoint takes a long string of data where we pass it the panel ID and then some other information about the RGB values that we're going to need to set as part of the body. So we're going to have to do some work in our pre-request script to actually set the body, and then have the body here actually send something over. So in the raw section over here, we'll just call this like body for lack of originality. And then in our pre-request script, this is where we're actually going to have to go generate like a random RGB value. If they don't send us one, or if they do send us one, we'll set it to that. Okay. So we'll presume that, should we presume that everybody's going to do like send a number from 0 to 255? Because that's basically the range of values that we need to set for each of the 3 colors of light. So we need one number for red, one number for blue, one number for green. Okay. So we'll need a way to receive those somehow and use those within this code.
So
no data validation.
Yeah, I'm just looking at I'm looking at what you're doing and what I was planning for you to do, just making sure it matches.
Okay.
Yeah, that should work. We don't need to validate. You just assume that they're sending like three values.
Okay. So because we're going to be doing some work inside this pre-request script to set the body, down here at the bottom, I'm just going to do something like bpm.variables.
Actually, do you know if it's RGB or if it's and again, I'm just like taking from the hue lights, if it's like brightness, saturation, and hue.
I'm so sorry, Arlemi. I did not mean to mock your marvelous French accent.
She did say before the call, everybody, that her job today was just to heckle us. So
that's my job.
She's staying on brand. So so that's a good question, Arlemi. So when we actually send the string over to the Nanoleaf, we actually have to send a panel ID, and then there are a number of other things in here. So there's a number 1, and then there's the red, value, the green value, the blue value, and then a couple of zeros.
Okay.
All of the code that I looked at, these values didn't change. Like the ones and the zeros here never changed. The only thing that was different were the RGB values and the actual panel ID. So again, I would have to go like break down the documentation, actually see what these other values are meant to be as far as like brightness and so on. But yeah, off the top of my head, I'm not sure what these other values actually represent.
Okay.
But these RGB values need to be a number between 0 and 255. Yep. 0 being off and 255 being full color. And then it's going to use whatever brightness setting is currently set. So if like I have the brightness turned down to about 25% on these panels. Otherwise, they're so saturated that it just looks like a wall of blinding light on the camera. So I actually have it toned down quite a bit. So I don't want to adjust the brightness for this, otherwise it won't show up on camera.
Okay.
So this is basically the string that we need to build based on what we have coming in. So these RGB values have to be a value between 0 and 255. So we could normalize what the user is sending us to make sure it's within that range. And if it's outside of that range, I could just pick a random one. But if it is in that range, then we'll use that. We could maybe do that. So if somebody tries to send like a negative value or a value of 1,000, we'll say, hey, that's out of range. We'll just pick a random one instead. What do you think?
So you want to do a random pick if it's out of range?
That's what I'm thinking, yeah, because we don't necessarily know if users are going to do what they're told.
Yeah, there should be a default.
Yeah, or you can just like not change if it's like you can even just cancel the call if it's like out of range.
Yeah, we could send back like a is it 422 for unprocessable entity or something like that. Send back a status code that says like, hey, I can't process what you sent me.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just going to write some code in here. So send back a 422 if out of range. And then if value is missing, like generate a random one. So if they only send like a red and a green, but they don't send a blue, do we assume that blue is 0, or do we just generate a random value for one that's missing?
I wouldn't go as far as that. I would just like, it's their fault.
Okay.
They're listening. So if it's out of range, sending 3 values. Yeah.
So if it's out of range or missing, we just won't send anything at all.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Okay, so from here, we need to know if what panel ID to go grab. So we need to know. If RGB value range are missing, and we also send 422 if panel number is like missing or invalid. If they try to send a number outside of 1 through 34, which we'll have to adjust to be an offset of 0 from 0 to 33 for our array. If it's outside of that range or an invalid number, then we just won't, we'll send back that 422. Otherwise, we'll have to look up a panel ID based on that. So we'll have to look up the panel ID and then set the string, and then we'll set that string into our body and then send that over for a single effect. So just to test this out, I've got some code here that'll randomly generate an RGB value, and
Magic.
I'm just going to go, yeah.
And that's why you were asking. I was like, oh, were you just going to write that on the go?
And I'm just going to go grab one of the panel IDs just to start out. So just so we can test that this is going to work. So we'll say let panel ID equal this value, and then I'm just going to build my string here. So let Nanoleaf string.
What is error 37?
It's try again, apparently.
But
it's not a
HTTP error?
I don't think it's an HTTP code.
I mean, you could return like anything, I suppose. You could return like a LEET code.
Let me check.
Code.
Error 37 is a browser error from Apache.
Yeah, I Googled it and I still didn't understand.
Oh, okay.
So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab my red, green, blue values, just being a random value, and then we'll send over that string, so our Nanoleaf string. So basically what I'm doing in here is I've got a function that basically just goes and picks a random number between a minimum and maximum. So it's going to pick a number between 0 and 255. And I'm calling that code in a string interpolation thing here. We should probably call the function the right name. Spelling matters. So it's just going to go set a random value for red, for green, and then for blue, and then set those other values like my panel ID. And then we're going to set that into the body. So when we send this request, it's going to call our pre-request script first, set the body to that string, and then hopefully it's going to adjust that one light for us.
I notice you're using 2 different types of variables. Was that intentional? Collection level and local variables, and I guess path variables. You're using 3 types.
Yeah. So the path variable, just because we have to make that access token part of the path. And, I wanted to explore something a little bit different just to see some of the capabilities of Postman. I'm using just the regular variable here for the body because we don't really need to store this at a collection level. This is like a one-off kind of variable. So it's kind of a throwaway just for this one request. So there's no need to really store that at a collection level, where something like the IP address, that's going to be pretty static, and we're going to reuse that over and over again, which is why I chose that as a collection variable.
So if you had done you're in the pre-request script, if you had done pm.collectionVariables.set, then you might have had to, on the tests, you might have had to do some teardown and clear it or something. Yeah. And you're saying it's ephemeral, just use the local variable. Okay.
Yep, exactly. Yep. Cool. Well, let's go set up this. I need to pull up my other screen just so I can see whether the light actually changes behind me.
That amount of windows gives me a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure which panel this is actually going to adjust. So hopefully this is going to work out okay.
19. What?
Oh, I think I saw it. Oh.
Well, we got a 200.
I saw one changing right behind your head.
Can you zoom in on Ian's face so we can see?
Yeah, let me do.
And then Ian, can you point to what's happening?
Like this.
I don't know which one is changing, to be honest. None of them are changing.
Make it like hot pink or something.
Oh, you know what? I need to do a post operation, not a get.
Oh,
yeah. That makes sense.
200.
I actually have to send this over. Okay, so we got a 400 battery request. So we need to figure out why that is.
Ian, can you try just quickly? Can you go in your settings, switch your mic to your headphone ones, and then go back to your normal one? Because I think your mic is a bit crickly.
You sound like Max Headroom. You know who that is? Does anyone know who that is?
Okay. I do not.
Okay.
It might be because you changed crisp as well. Yeah.
How about that?
No, now you sound like Darth Vader.
He sounded okay to me.
Oh, okay. Good. Let's try.
Wait, speak. Say something.
Is that okay?
Oh yeah. I think that's
yeah. Oh, very nice.
Okay.
Oh no.
Oh no. Well, it's fine.
No.
It's fine. We'll do with it.
Is it okay, or am I Darth Vader?
It's just like it's
crackly.
Yeah, it's just crackly, but it's fine.
Okay. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that, everyone.
Max Headroom.
Yeah. So I actually realized there's more to this string that we have to send over than just this. There's actually a structure of data that we have to pass over, and so that's actually going to be a whole other structure that I need to build here. So we have an effect structure that we have to build for Nanoleaf to actually pay attention to this. So we're telling it that we have to write some information to it, and the command that we're going to send over is that we're going to display something on the Nanoleaf panels. We're setting an animation type to be a custom type. We have to set this loop value to true, even though it's not really looping. It's only doing like a one-off. We have to set a palette to be empty, and then the animation data that we send is actually going to be this effect string that we built. So the Nanoleaf string is going to go in here. So we actually have to send this whole structure of data over. That's why I was complaining that this was a bad request. In order for this to send over properly in the body, we have to JSON stringify that structure, because we have to turn this object into a string to actually send as part of the body. So we have to JSON stringify this effect. And I think that's all we're going to need here. Let's send that over. True is not, oh, it's true with lowercase t, wrong programming language. Trying to write Python here. And so
400.
we got another bad request. Okay, so what didn't work? So we have a base effect. We have the right command of display, animation type of custom, loop is true, palette is cleared, animation data is my effect string. I think. Okay, so I need to unpack what we actually need to send over here. So I might need to go look up some documentation.
Yes.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
I'm just trying to
Was there
imagine.
any clue in the console?
Unfortunately, no. All we get back is that we get a content length of 0. So it doesn't send us any body. Like, it doesn't explain what the error is. We just get a 400 bad request.
Okay.
So that's the unfortunate thing about the Nanoleaf is they don't actually give you a good error saying like, hey, you're missing this, or this parameter was out of range, or something along that effect. It literally just says like, nope.
Your fault. Try again.
Yeah, exactly. So the first thing that we have to send over in that string is actually the number of panels that we have. And then it's supposed to be a space, and then a panel ID, and then the number 1, and then the RGB values, and then 2 zeros at the end.
So you looking where are you looking at? Do you have the documentation open on the side?
I have like my other code
Okay.
over here on the other side.
Just so people know.
Yeah, so I can show it over here. So this is my other workspace, and I was basically just kind of unpacking what I'm building here, where the first thing that we're setting is the length of how many panels we have. And then for each of those panels, it was going through and it was setting all of this code of the panel ID, the value of 1, the RGB values, and then these zeros. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to console log what we're building here as this effect, so we can debug what might be happening in here. So let me send that over. Look at our console, just so we can unpack this structure a little bit and see what's going on in here. So display, custom, loop is true. So it says palette 0, but it's actually empty. It's just how the console is actually logging this. And then we have the number of panels, and then all of this. So I'm wondering if by setting the 34, if it's expecting like all 34 panels to be set.
Oof.
I'm going to try setting this to just 1. So maybe it's using that value for like how many panels am I supposed to set with this effect. So let's try that. No, still get 400. So we might actually have to loop through and set all 34 of them to that value, which is not ideal.
So what if there's an endpoint that allows you to just set the hue of the light, right? If you look at the documentation.
Only there was a way to confirm this.
Yes, so in the documentation, it says that we can set the animation type to static, and then it looks like we give those values. So command to display an animation type of static. We don't need to set the palette. We set the loop to false in this case, and the animation data is set to that string. Yeah, let's try that. No, we're still getting a bad.
Yeah, it's not really getting any like details.
Yeah, which is really unfortunate that we don't actually see what's going on. There's another thing the documentation said to set that to a 1, but we're still getting a 400. So there's something unfortunately not going right with this. So
what if there's a /state endpoint instead of effects?
A state?
Yeah, so open the other Postman you have.
Okay.
And then I think in your collection documentation, so if you go at the collection level, and then so you have like the whole documentation here. Oh yeah, well you don't actually have it all because you removed the other stuff. Do you remember where you got that from?
I believe it was from the Nanoleaf public collection.
Okay, let's have a look.
See if it was this one. Yep.
Okay, so that collection is supposed to be an exhaustive list of endpoints you can use for your lights. And they use, let's see how they do it.
So there's a put to update. So auth token, so it's still using the effects endpoint.
Yeah.
But let's look at the body. So this is actually setting like the whole color scheme. So like set it to the Nemo, one or something like that. This doesn't set like an individual panel. This is setting like, go change it to like, the Boba Fett one, which is all like green and gray and red and so on.
So what if you look at the state folder?
At the state folder.
And then the hue one.
So that sets a value, like that's a single value though. Does that represent like a red, green, blue value?
I think so. We can try that one. Start from there.
So we're going to call state. But how does it know which panel to use? Because this
Willie
doesn't
Geertz.
seem to have a...
Willie Geertz is making a suggestion.
Yeah, what's that?
In manual, it's all about get and put, not post.
In the manual, it's all about get and put.
Try updating your post to a put.
Okay, yeah, let's give it a shot. No, we get a not. Oh, I changed this to state. So if we do effect, send. No, we're still getting 4. Well, that's a 404.
Is it effects with
effects?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Effects. Yeah. Thanks. So we still get a 400 on that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
good
that's
guess,
unfortunately
really
not it.
Good guess.
Yeah. Appreciate the input here.
So yeah, I'm wondering, does it just update them all then if you don't specify the panel ID?
That's what I'm going to check actually.
All of the lights.
All of the light at once.
So the hue setting, you use these if you want to change the HSV values manually. Otherwise, use the set color for a color change using RGB. So the hue is a value between 0 and 360, but it doesn't specify that that's actually like, a range of RGB values.
Okay.
So let's see. So there is. So let's go back to. What was that Nanoleaf one?
Was it?
Sorry. I gotta go back over to my other.
Yeah. There you go.
Nope, it was
this
one. I actually wanted to go find this one again. So that was setting the hue. There's a color mode. So the put is the right. So I think this is the one that we want. So this is the structure of everything, but again, it's giving it an animation name of like which effect to go apply to all of the lights. So I don't see that we've got anything in here to set an individual panel. We might be breaking new territory here.
Yeah, let's remove the individual panel from the equation for now, I guess.
Okay, and we'll just set all of them.
Yeah, let's try with all of them.
Okay, so in this case, what we're going to need to do is we're actually going to need to iterate over all of our panel IDs and build this string for all of them. So we'll start this. So we're going to need to start this with a count of panels. So we'll call this like panel count. And then we'll do some sort of iterative loop where we're setting the panel and setting this to all of those values. Okay, so now how do we chain these together? So how can we have this request call the other one to go fetch that panel ID from our collection?
So if I go back to the other collection, if you use the state endpoint, but you don't specify anything, will it just update all the lights at once?
On the effect?
No, not in the effect, on the state one. With the U. So the reason
it should, yeah, it should.
There's a hidden reason why I'm asking for the U.
Okay.
It's
All right.
because Joyce is also using the hue for her light. So we
Okay.
could possibly do some mixing later on.
Okay. All right. That could be fun.
Oh, that's so
Okay.
fun. Okay. I
So
thought you were gonna. Okay.
Yeah, no, it sounds like a good thing to try out. So we'll just
We're synchronizing all of our lights.
yeah. So I'm just gonna comment all this out for now, and then we'll just set our body to be a single hue. Send that over. Let's see what we get. 204 no content. So that's the typical answer that we would get. And notice all the panels behind
Okay,
just turned light
it
blue.
worked.
So that seems to work. Okay.
Nice.
All right. So moving on.
So now we want that to be a variable that other people can set.
Oh. Okay. So
yeah.
Let's see. So we need to make this a variable. So what I might do here is we'll set this back to body, and in our pre-request script, do something here where we stringify our hue value, and we're gonna have to figure out some user value we'll pass in here.
Yeah.
So just for simplicity of reading, I'm just gonna break this out. This. Cool. Okay, so we're going to go find some value from the user, and it'll plug this in. That'll save as the body, and then hopefully send that over. So
Yep.
if I set user value to some other value, let's call it 200. If I send that over, did it actually change? I didn't see like a noticeable change.
Yeah, I didn't see it either. Oh wait, you have a S.
Yep. So I don't notice any appreciable change. They're all still kind of like a pale white color.
Interesting.
I'm curious if this is something where we need to set
also the saturation and the brightness,
like a color temperature and things
yeah.
like that. Yeah. So we might have to set like all of them. Now there is a way that we can set. Can we set all of them all in one call? I'm just looking at some of the functionality here. We might have to call each one individually to set like the hue and the saturation and the brightness and all that kind of stuff. So we
I
might
think
need
that's
to
fine.
do,
yeah, if you duplicate it.
Yeah. So let's call this we'll call this one hue. So we'll set the hue. Not save. Set the hue. There it goes. And then we'll duplicate this, and we'll call this one
brightness and saturation. Yeah. I don't know if you need the color temperature. I don't know what that is.
And then what did we say the third one was? Temperature?
Brightness. Yeah.
Okay, so setting the brightness, we need to give it a value as well as a duration of time. Oh, you know what? This is why our other one didn't change, because I still had the body hard code.
Oh yeah, true.
Oh no, I did change that one. Save over right. Maybe that's why.
What is saturation?
Saturation is like how like meaty sort of the color is. Yeah, so like 0 is going to make it more like black and white, and like full value is going to be like really thick, rich color.
Kind of like so transparency, maybe?
Not really transparency. Like in camera setting, if you set it all the way down, it just basically blanches out all of the color, and you get the black and white. And if you go all the way to the opposite extreme, that's where you get like the really thick, like oranges and purples and things like that. And so typically you want it somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
So setting the hue, no, that actually did set the body. Okay, well, let's go look at brightness. So for the brightness, we need a structure that's going to look more like this, where we set a value from 0 to 100. And again, if I set this to full brightness, it's just a really strong light, and nobody's going to see anything at all. And so we'll probably want to set this to like 25. And then the duration is like, how many seconds do you want to like feed it to that brightness from where it currently is? So I would usually set this to like a 1. So for this one, I might actually hard code it to this and not allow a user to change this, because I wouldn't want to burn out the panels by somebody like making it like super bright all the time.
Yep.
So this one I think I'll leave alone, and we'll just clear out all that request script. And then for the saturation value, we could probably do something similar here. So let's do body. And then the saturation, that's just going to be a value as well. So we can give it like a percentage, I think, of 0 to 100.
We can make it 50, I guess, and just so then just changing the hue should work.
And notice when I sent that over, it actually turned
it did
instead of that gray color.
Okay.
So it changed slightly based on that saturation.
So why didn't the hue change? Is it because?
But now when I set 100, it turned green. So
okay. Oh, it was just because
I think the
saturation
might have been too low. Yeah. So let's go bump that one up.
Yeah.
Let's go set that to like 100. Set that to 100%. Yeah, there's a much deeper green, or like a more thick kind of shade of green, I guess you'd say.
Okay.
Okay, so now setting the hue by itself seems to be doing what we want it to do. So if we set this to say 300, it's kind of that red color. 200 is probably more in the blue range, and something in the 100 is going to be more in the green range. So that's where we can kind of see what our hue values are going to be. So 0 to like 128 is probably green, 128 to 256 is probably blue, and then 256 to 360 something is in the red range. That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So if we set this to max out at 360, yeah, it's all the panels turn red at that point. Cool. Okay, so now we can let a user set a color value based on this hue input.
And now we have the other challenge, which is how do we make them like access that?
Okay, so the first part on this is how do we get user input into this?
Yeah, so I have two options for my challenge now.
Okay.
One of them is we did a challenge where we get you to open that to the public, and then the users get to change the color. Mm-hmm. The other one is one where you and Joyce collaborate using flows.
What? Arlemi!
So I kind of want to go for the second one, because I feel like Joyce is just like sipping on something and she's not really doing much during the stream. So we can just get her to do some work.
Now the roles reverse and Arlemi's in heckle mode. I see.
Can we do flows in a public workspace?
No, we can't.
No, we can't. It has to be private.
But because it's going to be on the screen, everyone is going to see anyway. Does that make sense? So
why don't we let the viewers choose?
Okay.
Do you want to be able to turn on Ian's light? Because we do have Adjust Ian's Nanoleaf lights as the title of this collection.
Or do you want to see
I can rename the collection
and Joyce compete?
No, once you name it, you can't rename it. That's one of the
that's a rule? Is that a rule?
I don't know. I thought we were going to be Arlemi, I thought that go ahead. You can choose, Ian. You're the guest.
Yeah, I think it would be fun to expose this to the outside and watch other people like change it in real time. I think that would be fun.
We can have another stream where we just like sync all of our lights, because I also have.
Yeah, Arlemi, I think that would be cool if somebody sent it in to change Ian's light, but then Arlemi's light changed, and then my light changed, and then we're all of our backgrounds are same.
Synchronized.
Another stream.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, this is the goal for this stream.
Okay.
Speed round.
Speed round. Okay, so we need to figure out so first thing, how do we expose this to the outside world? And then second, how do I get user input into this? That's something I'm not familiar with in Postman, so I'm going to need your help on that.
Okay, so I'll give you a hint. It starts with web, and it finishes with hooks.
Love it. All right.
Ooh, this is challenging, Arlemi. I like this.
So if you wanna, actually, it would be nice if you had like everything in the same screen, so like people can see like your process of like searching for things, etc.
Sure.
But
so all over here is looking up Postman webhooks.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what you need to do. So you can see the second link on there was like triggering runs with webhooks.
Okay. Let me increase the font size on that a little bit.
Yeah.
So create a webhook, data sent to the webhook URL using a post request. It's up to you to configure the application that sends the data with the trigger event are accessing the request body. So this will be the request body that's coming over from the user so that we can use it in our script. Okay.
Yep.
So globals.previous request is what it looks like we're using.
Yeah.
Okay. So previous request, we're going to JSON parse globals previous request to grab our webhook request data. And then, yeah, we'll just console log that.
Yeah, that's usually what I go for whenever I do webhooks. I just copy paste that code and just see what's coming in.
So in case y'all missed it at home, the title of that documentation page was really great because Arlemi's clue was it starts with web and ends with hooks. And webhooks are monitor runs that you trigger on demand. So behind the scenes, a webhook is actually a monitor.
I'm going to leave my random thing in here for now. So
yeah, I'm wondering, do we even need to get Nanoleaf data in that collection now?
No, because this is actually just going to set all the panels anyway. So we won't need that request.
Yep.
So, and actually we don't really need the saturation of brightness because we're not going to be adjusting that. We'll just hard code those values. So we actually don't need these ones either. We just need the set hue call.
Yeah, I guess like all of these requests can be there. They won't be called anyway. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Or they will be called, but they won't have any effect on the actual thing.
Right.
So yeah, we probably want to turn that into that collection needs to be a monitor.
Okay.
But actually, I think we might still have an issue where it's calling your local stuff, and it won't be able to access it from.
Okay. So am I going to monitor the collection?
Monitors run from Postman Cloud. And so unless Postman Cloud can access your local network.
Yeah. So that's where we're going to need like ngrok or something like that.
Yeah, actually, we might not even need the webhooks then. If we just need one endpoint, which is like this one, the set U. Okay. If you do an ngrok, are you familiar like using ngrok?
It's been a couple of years actually since I've looked at it. So
okay.
I know it does some tunneling, but I actually haven't set it up in quite a while.
You have moral support. Nikolai is saying, get it together, man. You can handle it.
Appreciate it. Thanks. I'm gonna start it for free, so I'll just go ahead and sign up.
We like to get started for free.
I'll use my GitHub.
It's very small. We can't see your password.
Oh, shucks.
Please zoom in on the password.
Yeah, it's a bunch of dots. So just set it to a whole bunch of dots. All right, so it looks like I got some stuff to unzip.
Cool. Arlemi, you used ngrok last time, and you also used, what was that other one?
Localhost.run.
Did you like one over the other, or were they pretty much like the same?
They were pretty much the same to me. They didn't really make a difference.
For what we were trying to do?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I won't be able to make the font on this bigger, but this is basically my Windows subsystem for Linux.
Can't you do like Control Plus on this one?
No, not in the Windows terminal, or not on the Ubuntu one, unfortunately.
But dear, why would they make it like that?
So I just need to go unpack a download. So there we go.
Hi, Jalindar. We're just moving on to part 2 of the challenge. So Ian has found a way for to change all of the Nanoleaf panels behind his head to a different color or hue. And now we're just opening it up to the public so that viewers at home can, and me and Arlemi can update the light color.
You'll have to unzip it probably first.
Yep. So I did, and I've got just an ngrok executable, looks like.
Yeah, so now with that, you can do HTTP, the first one. So you do your executable HTTP, and then the second part is where you want it to be redirected.
Okay.
So that would be like your 192 something something.
Oh, okay. Do I give it like the full like port number and all that stuff as well?
Yeah, actually, you can make it all. Yeah, make it all the way to the /state.
API v1, and then I need to go find that access token I have here conveniently.
What's happening? I can't see.
So now he's creating the command in ngrok that's going to start the server, and it's in two parts. So I mean, it's the ngrok command, and the first parameter is the type of request, so it's HTTP, and then the second part is where you want it to tunnel to on your PC. So that's usually like
the local host with port
local address. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, if you can't do paste, that's going to be
It's not letting me paste. So do you?
Not even with
you can't paste in this terminal.
There's something going on with having this gigantic cursor and things like that. Typically, yes, you can. It's not working right now.
Your cursor is not giant to us.
Oh, it's doing
that's a Windows thing.
Weird thing. Yeah.
All right. Edit. Copy. Paste. No, it will not copy and paste that value.
Do you have the? Oh, I don't know how Windows 11 works, but do you have just a Windows terminal?
Not to get into the Windows subsystems for Linux, unfortunately.
Okay.
So we've got all this, and then it was going to be state, and then was it hue? I think was the endpoint that we hit.
Let me see. I think it's just state, and it's based on what you put in the body that's going to define what you're doing.
Okay. So
it's just state.
So sending that over, giving me an error from ngrok that I'm not setting them up properly. So it looks like it takes a port or a domain in a port, but not like a full path.
Put the HTTP in front of your 192. So HTTP column / yeah, try that. Still no? Okay, so then
the command line specifies a path, and this is unsupported. So it becomes support having like the API v1 with the access token and all that.
Then just put the IP and the port. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice. Okay.
So that's up and running. I'm just going to pull that off my screen. Okay.
Tunnel open.
Tunnel open.
Let's share
now,
it.
Can I hit it?
With Joyce and me first. See what we can do with it.
We have fast viewers. Wait.
Yeah.
What's the body shape? Oh, yeah. It's a public workspace. We should be able to hit it directly, no?
Oh, yeah. Actually, if you just replace the Nanoleaf IP address here and the port.
And set that to ngrok.
Yeah, that should work.
All of the lights.
Something went wrong.
So because you have the code from the webhook in there.
Oh, yeah. Don't need that anymore.
And the line 8 as well. You can comment, yeah.
Okay. So
it didn't change because you haven't changed the.
Yeah, I also got a 502 bad gateway error trying to set state on that. But it tried to intercept it at least. And I am seeing the access token come in, and it is calling /state.
Okay.
So it is redirecting to this path just fine.
And it's saying 502.
Let's set this back to a green value and send that over. So it's sitting and spinning, and I get a 502 gateway on this other side.
Oh, did we kill it?
Oh, you know what? The web interface is a 127. No, that's just the web interface for ngrok.
Yeah.
186, is that the Is that the right IP address?
I don't remember from the. Oh, you have it in your.
Sorry.
Probably another
collection
request.
variables.
Oh yeah, collection variables.
1.11.6. I set the wrong IP address.
Oh.
1.7.6. No, 1.8.6.
Okay.
So now if we come back over here, set the hue, hit send. 404 not found. So the tunnel for ngrok. Oh, because it changed every time you rerun this.
Yep.
All right. That's interesting. Looks like all of that is the same except for this part, and it's B5C1. 404 not found.
Are you sure the rest did not change?
No, it's B.
Okay.
All right, that worked. Yay.
It is open to the wide
Is it ready?
world.
Is it ready? Okay.
It's ready.
So I'm going to go to this public workspace and
Yeah,
I'm going to submit
well.
what? How do I do this? Update the pre-request?
So in the pre-request script, you're going to see a user value on line 11.
Did it change? I just sent.
Something changed, yeah. It was green before.
Something went purple. Now it's green again.
That was me.
That was me. Wait, what's the name of it?
Too slow. I just changed it again. That was me.
Yeah, I'm coming.
Joyce is very excited about this.
This is my favorite part. Wait, I don't know what color 50
I need to.
is.
I don't have permissions.
Yeah, what's orange? It's up to 300, right?
Yeah, I would say orange would probably be like somewhere between like high 360 and like 0 through 50 kind of.
360? I thought you said max 300.
Well, it goes from 0 to 360, and if
okay.
360 is red and 100 is green, then I'm kind of thinking like somewhere between 360 and 100 is going to be kind of orange.
That was me. Should I send a link to everyone?
Well, it's
I'm gonna turn the brightness up a tiny bit.
Wait. Oh,
I just dropped the link.
Oh, not too bright. Now it's bright. Now it's bright yellow.
Too bright.
Did mine go through?
Too bright.
Wait. I feel like mine is not changing anything. What the heck?
Sorry, let me change it.
Okay,
yes, so that's me.
Wait, let me change to 300.
If you guys want to do this at home, you can fork this collection, or you could just copy and paste and recreate your own request. But the link that I just dropped in the chat includes the ngrok tunnel going to that endpoint. And then you, under the pre-request script, you update the user value on row 11 to something between 0 and 360.
Yep.
It's not working when I do it.
What do you think orange is?
Oh, okay, it is
user error. User error, Arlemi.
No, it's fine. It worked.
Oh, I like that color. What color is it?
It's 100.
100. Okay.
It's a nice bright green on my side. It looks kind of cyan on the a nice rich purple color.
The next part of the challenge is to build a mini monitor that toggles between 100 and 300 and 100 and 300 in an infinite loop to make it like blinky.
This cycle, yep.
Yeah.
So we have 5 minutes left.
All right.
We've done the challenge, so good on that part.
Bravo.
We have the light changing colors. We have it open to people. That's great success.
Success.
The bonus I had was having you both create a flow.
Sorry, we're out of time.
Yeah, that was
not enough time.
So that was coding. The idea was this wouldn't be open to public because flows can't be in the open and can't be triggered from outside. But the idea was to have a flows.
Ian, do you want to just pull up a flows thing so folks can see if they've never seen it? Because it's pretty new.
Oh, you won't be able to do it here because it's a public workspace.
But I can pull it up in mine.
Yeah.
So in my automation. So this is the automation one I was working through for making my lights actually blink. So let me zoom out on this so you can kind of see the flow that I've been playing with here. But this is basically our low code, no code kind of option. And Arlemi and I were kind of nerding out on this yesterday around like how do we actually go get environment variables? How do we actually go set these things? And so this was the whole flow where I was grabbing my Twitch information, making what we call a durable. So using some of that data and making what we call a durable variable to then reuse in other requests. and getting my follower count and making that durable. And then we were basically working through the condition of if that follower count changed, then actually call this other request that I've got to actually make the lights blink. And what I want to do is I want to make that its own sort of loop of like call itself, 10 times or whatever, and decrement a counter. And then once it runs out, then stop the flow. And if we come through and we actually run this, I don't have it configured, so it's actually not working properly because some of my blocks are broken. But otherwise, you would see kind of this green flow kind of come across the screen as it runs each block and how they all kind of play into each other in there. And the terminal is basically our flows version of the console log. You can give it like a name to sort of categorize the output. And then in that output, you can kind of see what you're logging at different points along the way. So, and this is still in beta, so it's subject to change. So it's been a lot of fun to play with.
So we did that in an hour yesterday, so we probably won't have time to do the same again today. That was it might be a bit short, but yeah, the idea was like to have you, because the one thing about Flows is that it's all real-time updates, so you could both be editing the same flows and you would see the updates of the others happening at the same time. So the idea was to like have both of you creating one flow. I mean, one branch of the flow, and then by triggering the flow, it would update both of your lights to the same color. But I guess we can keep it for our next stream and have 3 branches to the flow, and have Joyce's light, Ian's light, and my light. That is, can I turn it on? I can't turn it on. But yeah, I have a light, I promise, somewhere there, which
in that vegetation back there.
Yeah, which works sometimes. And you can.
And we have a request from Tan Mayo. Can we try controlling a single panel? That might be a good follow-up.
I think that would be a good follow-up. Right now, we tried it, and we weren't able to set an effect on a single panel. We already tried that one. I think we actually have to go through and set all of the... We'd probably have to go grab the state of all of the panels, change one of them, and then send that whole state to the Nanoleaf.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that their API is not like allowing that, because it seems to be like a basic thing. Mm-hmm. But you have to like write quite a bunch of code just to like, update a single panel. So that's
and that's what my other code was doing. Is because it's storing that array of Nanoleaf panel IDs. It was actually iterating over that, setting a random RGB value for each one, building that as an entire string, setting that over, and then looping that a number of times. And so that's what makes it look like it blinks when I hit that button. Is it's actually like building a whole, like all 34 panels RGB value, sending it over, doing it again, sending it over, doing it again, sending it over. So it would probably have to be a thing where we go get the state of all panels, update just one of them, and then send that whole thing over. So it'd end up being 2 calls just to control a single panel.
Yeah, which is not ideal. Okay, we have 1 minute left.
Yeah,
1 minute even. So let's. I mean, we can go over. It's fine, but
good.
I'm going to remove your screen. Just our faces. Oh, that's a weird one.
Oh, I like that. Wait, let me scoot over. There we go.
Because like, Ian is definitely not in the.
Ian, get your head in.
Okay, I don't know how I feel about this one.
It's very restrictive.
Yeah, I am going to change back to that one. Okay, so quick summary of what we've done. We challenge Ian to use the lights that he has in the background, open them to the public, give people an option to change it, and you can actually see that I'm going to call it now.
Oh, I'm going to do it.
I'm doing it.
Out of my way. Out of my way.
I have too many tabs open.
There we go. That was me.
Well, okay. But yeah, people can actually change the light now. I'm guessing you're going to close the ngrok tunnel after the stream, so that's not going to be available all of the time. But we'll have
all of the time.
We'll have another stream probably where we're just gonna hack it all together, and we'll have like a chains of lights everywhere, and you'll be able to like control our lives.
Or it's like the 4th of July.
Yeah, just his webcam crashed. It seems you're not moving anymore on my screen, but she's still here. Yeah,
we can hear you. Yeah,
we can hear you.
I'm here.
You might want to close your webcam and open it again.
Okay.
But yeah, let's do quick shout outs. Ian, you can start actually.
Yeah, so I stream every day, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going through a 30 days of post challenge. I'm almost done, and I'm basically going to pick my followers on Twitch on when I get to day 30 and wrap it all up. I'm actually going to give away a copy of our graphic novel, API First World, but you have to be there when I do day 30, and you got to chat
Be
on
like
Twitch.
us.
So yeah, you'll need to go to Twitch and you'll get a copy of our graphic novel. So I'm going to pick one winner, and I may have a pair of socks to give away too. We'll see.
Oh, okay.
Socks.
Joyce.
Postman socks, not one of not my
Just some old socks.
A pair of Ian's socks.
And
There's a market for that.
They are a brand new pair of unused Postman socks. I qualify.
My community shout out is Postman just had their first API Fest. It's a student festival. I'll drop a link to the recap here. But 28 countries participated. There's a lot of student programs that are going on. You can get your expert badge. You can start teaching courses if you want at your college. And so this was really cool. A lot of people came up with projects. So don't forget, if you're a student out there or you know students, there's some fun stuff that's going on.
And mine is going to be not a shout out, but just information for what's coming. We don't have a stream next week because we're taking a break, or it was too short notice to create something, and I was not on time because I had a week off, etc. Anyway, there's no stream. There's no stream next week. Blame me for it. But we'll see you in 2 weeks, and it's going to be Cyprus.
Yes. So I'm going to be here with Gleb from Cyprus, one of the OG creators of Cyprus. Is it Cypress.js? Cyprus.
I think so.
The front end testing framework.
Yeah.
Very, very popular. So it's going to be a Postman in Cyprus kind of stream. Gleb is hilarious, but also he travels around the world giving workshops. You normally have to pay for his stuff. So I'm really excited to pick his brain, and we're going to be doing like heavy stuff. This is not going to be for beginners. We're going to fly through a lot of content. I'm a little bit nervous. He's also really like kind of a troll, so I'm a little nervous about that too.
Nice. Cool. So we have that, and we also have a Spacecom session coming in on the, don't want to say anything wrong, but I believe it's on the 16th of March. And it's going to be a tester specific session. So how to do tests in, actually it's the first Spacecom.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. But with that said, that's the end of this stream. We'll see you in not next week, the week after.
2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. Everyone, have a good day. Have a good evening. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Nice job, Ian. Bye.